Hello, I am back with a brand new video. I know it's been a long time, and I only have 3 videos, but I have 30 subscribers. And I just want to take a second to thank all of you because that is a lot more than I thought I would get, especially with just 3 videos. So thank you, you guys. Every time I saw a new subscriber, my heart just started fluttering. I'm just so excited. And I'm really excited that I get to start making videos again. So for my first video back, I have decided to do the mid-year book freakout tag. And I know I'm like 2 weeks behind, but it sounded really fun and I wanted to do it. So I'm doing it. I have only read like 20 books this year, and my goal is to read 52, so I am very behind. I guess not very behind, but I'm pretty behind, and I need to step up my reading pace. And I actually just quit my job. This weekend coming up is actually my last weekend serving, and I am so excited that I get to stay home with my boys again. I did it for 2 years, and then I served for 9 or 10 months, and now I'm going back into staying home full time and being with my boys, and I just can't wait. So hopefully I'll be able to put in a few more hours of reading time during the week because I won't be working. Before I begin, I also want to apologize about the background noise, if there is any. My 3-year-old is watching TV in the other room. I had to take over the living room space because we are currently renovating our master bedroom, which is usually where I film these. So he is in there watching one of his shows that he likes while I am out here. All right, there are 15 questions, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. Question number 1. What is the best book you've read so far? That has to be Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This book took me for a ride, guys. I enjoyed it so much. It's about these group of people who are on this planet that gets attacked, and then they escape on spaceships, and there's a group of 3 spaceships that are trying to escape, but it's going to take I think it said 9 months or something to get to a jump station so that they can jump like a wormhole to a more populated part of the universe so that they could let everybody know that this specific company that attacked them is wrong, what they're doing. So it's about that journey. And the best part is it's not like a normal book, like the way it's written. There are pages in here that you read very differently, and it's just so interesting. And the storyline, guys, I had no idea that you could do such an amazing plot twisting storyline written like this. These are conversations between people like you're texting, and that's how a lot of this is. So this is definitely the best book that I've read so far in 2018. Question number 2, what is the best sequel you have read so far this year? Now, I would say Gemina, which is the sequel to Illuminae, but I'm going to have to go with Scarlet from the Lunar Chronicles, which I have the audio version of. I was so drawn into the series, The Lunar Chronicles, that it was extremely difficult for me to put down. And usually I kind of lull on the second book because I don't know, I don't find it as interesting or as fast-paced. But Scarlet was my favorite book of that series. I couldn't tell you exactly what it's about because I read them so close together that they all kind of blend together, all the storylines. But I do specifically remember Scarlet is my favorite. Don't mind my cat in the background. Okay, moving on. Question number 3. New release you haven't read yet, but want to. That would have to be Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. And I actually picked this book up because I'm writing a novel myself. It's a fantasy series. And my main character and Laura Sebastian's main character have very, very similar background stories, and the synopsis of what our characters go through in the first book is very similar. So I had to pick it up to see if it was the same or if it was just some kind of eerie coincidence. Now, I haven't actually finished it yet. I'm only about 100 pages in, and already I can tell that they are vastly different. But I had to know, and I still want to finish it because it is still a great story. I like the way Laura Sebastian writes. So this is actually in my current reading pile. Question number 4, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I actually have 2. The first being Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. And I haven't actually finished Empire of Storms or Tower of Dawn. So I plan on finishing those, actually rereading the entire series and finishing those before Kingdom of Ash comes out in September. And my second book that I am excited that comes out this year is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, and that comes out in December. Again, I have not finished Lady Midnight or Lord of Shadows, which are the first 2 books in this trilogy for the Dark Artifices. So I need to finish those before Queen of Air and Darkness comes out in December. Question number 5, what is your biggest book disappointment? Mine would have to be The Black Key by Amy Ewing. I know that that book came out several years ago, and I'm not sure why I didn't pick it up before this year, because I loved The Jewel and The White Rose, which are the first 2 books to The Black Key in the Lone City trilogy. And I don't know, I was just so disappointed by The Black Key because it just felt rushed, and it felt like the author didn't really know how to end the story, but she had to, so she thought that this was the best plan of action for her characters, even though it didn't really feel to me like the characters would have done some of these things. I don't know, it fell short for me, and that's really disappointing because I loved The Jewel and The White Rose. Question number 6, what is your biggest surprise? That would have to be Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and it's because of the ending of this book. Not exactly what happens, but who it happens to. I kind of thought that something would have happened along the lines of what did, but I thought it would happen to other characters, and I'm very shocked, and I'm kind of a little hurt because I liked this character. I don't really want to spoil anything because I do plan on doing a review for Six of Crows and eventually Crooked Kingdom when I get that book and finish it, because I do like this series a lot. It's something that I have a lot of thoughts about. Yeah, this is my biggest surprise. Number 7 is, who is your favorite author? Either a debut author or a new author to you. That would have to be Victoria Schwab or V.E. Schwab. I found her as Victoria Schwab when I read This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet, and I fell in love with her writing style, and I love the way she has the characters interact, and their character growth is amazing, and her plot twists are heartbreaking, and I need to meet this author. I need to meet Victoria Schwab, and it is on my bucket list to meet her and Sarah J. Maas and pick their brains about everything. I actually have questions written out for if I do ever meet these 2 authors to ask them. And if I only get one question, I would be totally happy with that. Maybe one day I'll even be able to interview them for this channel. That would be amazing. I'm going to have to see if I can make that happen in the future. Number 8 is, who is your newest fictional crush? This one's a little hard for me to answer because I don't really have a fictional crush in any of the books that I've read this year. But if I had to choose, it would be a toss-up between 2. The first being August Flynn from This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. And the second is Nick Nalikov from Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And I'm just now realizing that these two characters, Nick and August, they are men with bad boy reputation, but they're really good. Like, August is a monster. He's legit a monster, and he has the heart of an angel. And Nick Malakov, he is a member of the House of Knives, which is like a mob, and he doesn't like what they do, and he tries to... He's a good guy. Nick and August, they're good guys. They'd have to be my crushes of 2018 if I had to pick. Apparently I have a type. Number 9, who is your newest favorite character? Hands down, Nina Zenik from Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I relate so much to this girl. I don't know exactly what it is, but every time she says something, I'm like, yes, that's what I would have said. It's exactly what I would have said. Or anytime she does something, I'm like, girl, you're reading my mind. Stop it. Like, what is going on? And I'm not even joking. This is serious. If I was a book character, I would be Nina Zenik. She is my favorite character. She probably always will be. Question number 10. Books that made you cry. And I say books because I have more than one, because it's me. And I cry at everything emotional. Okay, so the first one, obviously, Illuminae, because if you read it, you know. So many heartbreaking things happen in this book, and it threw me for a loop. There was actually one time right before page 200 out of a 600-page book that I had to set this down and walk away for a whole day. A whole day. I couldn't pick it up. Every time I looked at it, my heart started hurting. And, I realized that the best books are always the ones that hurt you. You put your trust into these books and these authors, and then they take your heart and they rip it to pieces and they give it back to you all glued and taped up, and you gratefully take it and continue being tortured by these books and characters and authors. The other 3 books are This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab, and again, if you read it, you understand my pain. 2 of my favorite characters die in this book. 2 of them. Usually I only lose one favorite character, and it always happens. Almost every single time. The only time it didn't happen actually was in the Illuminae files, which is weird. Anyways, and I actually thought that one of my favorite characters died in This Savage Song, which is the first book, but then this character came back to life only to die again at the end of Our Dark Duet, along with my other favorite character. So that's why I cried for This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. Now, the last book that made me cry is actually kind of a shocker, probably for most of you, and that would be A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, which is the little novella in between the book series that revolve around A Court of Thorn and Roses world. The reason I cried is because of Tamlin and his story and what happens to him in this little tiny book. No, I am not Team Tamlin. I like my little cinnamon roll Reese, and I will choose him over everybody in that series. But Tamlin is not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He just makes bad decisions. And I feel awful for him in the state that he's in A Court of Frost and Starlight. And I hope to see him get at least a little bit happy in the next 3 books that Sarah J. Maas is writing in this world. All right, so let's flip it around and go to question number 11, which is books that make you happy. And I know these 2 are going to sound very weird based off of what I just said in the books that made me cry. But the first one is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is the 3rd book in the Illuminae series. I know. Obsidio made me happy because of the way it ended. It ended in a way that I felt closure, and the characters were happy, and my favorite character or characters did not die. And I just finished it yesterday, and it just makes me so happy. And the second book that makes me happy, A Court of Frost and Starlight. I know. But this makes me happy because it has been a year, I think, since I had actually read the books for the first time, and I've read them 5 times in that year. And I was ready for something new. And then Sarah J. Maas said that this was coming out, and I was so excited. I am just happy to have this in my hands, guys. It's not just because of the story where nothing happens except for Tamlin being destroyed. But I'm happy to have this book in my hands. It's a promise for the other 3 books that she is writing in this world, and I can't wait. Question number 12 is, what is your favorite book to film adaptation that you have seen this year? Now, most booktubers, at least the ones that I've seen them do this specific book tag this year, they say Love, Simon. And I get it, I think. I haven't actually read the book, and I haven't seen the movie. So the only book to film adaptation that I have actually seen this year is 50 Shades Freed. I'm actually pretty happy with the way that the movie turned out. 50 Shades Freed was my favorite book of that trilogy. Yes, of course, I read 50 Shades Freed. I am 27. I was obsessed with Twilight when it was out as a teenager, and I had to read the trilogy that came out that was fan fiction from Twilight. It was inevitable. It was gonna happen. I read it. I enjoyed it. I read it some more. And then I loved the movies. I do. I'm not ashamed. So by default, actually, 50 Shades Freed is my favorite book to film adaptation of the year. Number 13 is, what is your favorite video that you have posted on YouTube this year? And I have only done 3, and I don't think my vlog will count as a favorite video because it's not really bookish related. So I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite video of the year is my top 5 young adult series video. I will go ahead and link that down below if you want to take a look at it. Number 14 is, what is the most beautiful book you have bought or received this year? And I have not bought or received very many books this year, but I think The Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. It's so pretty. Also, not just the dust jacket is beautiful, but so is the actual book itself. It's so gorgeous. I have not seen very many books that do, beautiful things on the actual book itself. And the last question, with the longest answer that I have, question number 15, what books do you hope to read by the end of the year? Obviously, I have to reread the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas so that I can read Kingdom of Ash when it comes out in September. I also have to read the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare so that I can read Queen of Air and Darkness when it comes out in December. I am trying to read the first 4 books of the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon before the 4th season comes out because I love that show, and I prefer to read the books before I watch the show or movie, and I haven't done that with this book yet. So I have to somehow finish these 4 along with the 6 books of Throne of Glass before fall. I got this. I also want to finish Scythe so that I can read Thunderhead because I hear that it's a trilogy. Scythe by Neil Shusterman, by the way. And it's a good book. I'm a little over halfway through, and I'm honestly surprised that I haven't finished it yet. But it's on my my reading shelf right now, along with all the other books that I'm trying to read. I'll get to it. I'll finish it before the year ends. I promise. And there is a whole slew of other books that I would love to finish before the end of the year. But like I said, my goal is 52 books, so hopefully I can get there. And that is it for this book tag, guys. Thank you so much for watching and letting me ramble on for 15 questions, which is a lot. But I had a ton of fun. This was a lot of fun making. I'm not going to tag anybody, but if you feel like this would be a fun book tag to do, please do it. It's so much fun. Thank you so much again for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Bye!